Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you read that correctly. The G Fund has been suspended. We've gotten a lot of questions about this from the federal community, and understandably so. So today we're going to talk about what exactly is the G Fund suspension, why it happened, and how it impacts you as a federal employee. First, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Thiago, and I run a retirement planning firm serving federal employees. And my team and I can only work with a certain number of families each year, so we made this channel to share what's working with the rest of the community as well. So let's jump right in. First, what is the G Fund suspension? The TSP G Fund invests in short-term treasuries issued by the US government. And so because of this, the G Fund can be affected when the government can't issue those bonds in an event like reaching the national debt ceiling. And that's exactly what's happening. Let's look at how it works. We know that the TSP G Fund is US Treasuries. And if the government can't fund new treasuries because the debt limit has been reached, then it can't continue to invest in the TSP G Fund, which are based on those treasuries. So when it reaches the national debt limit, the Treasury is looking for ways to manage its cash and borrowing so that it can continue to fund the government's expenses. And one way that it does this is by suspending investment of the TSP G Fund. Now, US law authorizes the Secretary of Treasury to do this if investments can't be made without going beyond the debt ceiling. And here are some quotes from letters that she wrote. As of January 23rd, I have also determined that, by reason of the statutory debt limit, I will be unable to fully invest the Government Securities Investment Fund, G Fund, in the Thrift Savings Fund, part of the Federal Employees Retirement System, in interest-bearing securities of the United States. While the Treasury is not currently able to provide an estimate of how long extraordinary measures will enable us to continue to pay the government's obligations, it is unlikely that cash and extraordinary measures will be exhausted before early June. All right, so we're not going to get into the politics of this because that's not our role, but we do want to help you feel confident and prepared for your retirement as you do your planning. So if you have thoughts, concerns, comments, ideas, that's exactly what YouTube's comment section is for, so have at it. Okay, so what does this actually mean to federal employees, and how does this translate into your retirement plan? In essence, TSP participants are helping to fund the operations of the US government. And this is because funds inside the TSP G Fund are once again going to be used to help keep the government running. Now, before you let this stress you out and ruin your day, the Secretary can't actually sell or redeem shares of the G Fund that are held by TSP participants. But they do have the ability to, and I quote, suspend the issuance of additional amounts of obligations of the United States if such issuance could not be made without causing the public debt of the United States to exceed the public debt limit. Now, here's the really important part. Once the government is able to handle its debt ceiling issue, then federal employees are made whole again. The G Fund still earns interest, just not in real time. It's essentially an accounting gimmick to try and shuffle the money around in a way to keep the business moving. So eventually the G Fund will be paid back as if it never happened. So it's kind of like a big IOU. And ordinarily, claims like this would be very suspicious, especially if it came from an investment firm or a corporation or anything like that. However, the full faith and credit of the United States government stands behind the claim of them paying you back. Again, we're not going to get into the politics of this. Have at it in the comments below. So the question most people say is, what should you do about it? The one we get most frequently is, should I stop investing in the G Fund? Or should I take my money out of the G Fund and put it into something else? And the best thing that you can do here is to try to keep your nerves at bay. The worst thing that you can do is make decisions about your money when you're feeling panicked or filled with a lot of emotion. You can still take money out of your TSP just like normal, and your money is still there. It's not like it's vaporized. In fact, over the years that we've worked with federal employees, this is not the first time something like this has happened. And our perspective is that you don't really need to worry about it. If you're continuing to make TSP G Fund contributions, you should continue to do so if that's appropriate for your retirement. The way that this becomes a real big problem is if the United States government cannot begin to meet its debt obligations. That's when we'll run into issues with the G Fund being repaid back. The likelihood of the federal government defaulting on its loans is pretty low. But at the same time, I know how frustrating it is to feel like they're commandeering your money and you have no control over it. It can be scary to think that what you believed was safe now seems like it's in jeopardy. But again, try not to stress yourself out too much. We are very confident that this will resolve itself over time and that things will go back to the way they were very soon. So I hope this helps, and if you're a federal employee planning your retirement, consider subscribing because all of our videos are about helping you plan a better retirement. Until next time, stay wise and stay wealthy.